This is Beta, alignment T is...
Space, the final frontier. And peering into the outermost edges of our universe from far beyond Earth's atmosphere is the Hubble Space Telescope. The problem is, after 15 years in space, the Hubble telescope requires regular servicing. So how do they repair and service the Hubble, 366 miles above the Earth? How do they do it?
Start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have liftoff.
Launched in 1990, NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has revolutionized modern astronomy. Over 42 feet long and weighing more than 24,000 pounds, it's larger than a school bus and weighs as much as 2 full-grown elephants. Thanks to the startling images captured by Hubble, scientists have not only discovered billions of new galaxies and stars, but have even photographed echoes of the Big Bang itself. But space is a hard place to keep this kind of technology in good working order. Since its launch, the telescope has racked up a $20 million tab in operation and maintenance costs. Designing and testing essential replacement parts to keep Hubble in business is an ongoing challenge for NASA and its team of engineers. Here at the Goddard Space Flight Center, just outside Washington, D.C., they're about to test the latest set of replacement parts due to be delivered and fitted to Hubble on the Space Shuttle's next service mission. These include new solar batteries, an improved camera, and a new image sensor. But before these parts can be fitted, the designers must figure out how to make them strong enough to withstand the rigors of being launched into space. The problem is the acceleration at liftoff, and G-force, the force of gravity or acceleration on a body or object during movement. Over 9 Gs are created at launch. That's enough force to turn an 1,100-pound spare part into the equivalent of a 10,000-pound monster truck. To tackle this problem, NASA has created one of the world's largest centrifuges. In charge of it is Mike Weiss.
You're looking at a really, really big centrifuge. A really big one. It's 120 feet long, and we put our space payloads on it and spin it up so that we can test them to the G-loads that it would see as it's riding to space.
9 Gs is enough to make a human being pass out within just a few seconds. But this monster fairground ride is able to create forces up to 30 Gs. That would be enough pressure to turn a human body into something you could bottle.
Our instruments that we take up on Hubble are generally around 500 kilos. So we would put them on here, spin it up, test them to the G-loads that they would see as they're riding to orbit, and make sure they can withstand that kind of environment.
But the G-forces aren't the only problem produced by shuttle liftoff. The sheer noise and vibration produced can literally rattle the equipment to pieces. The solution is to test the parts in a room with the loudest loudspeaker ever made and see what happens. The noise inside this chamber will reach 150 decibels. So if you want to know what standing next to the shuttle's engines at launch sounds like, you could try standing here. Bear in mind, however, you won't be listening for long. The incredible volume will instantly burst your eardrums. As they ramp up the volume, even the steel and reinforced concrete blast doors can't keep all the noise out. If the components still work after this, they can probably take the shock of a liftoff. But once in space, that's when things get really tricky. 366 miles above the Earth, the Hubble orbits the planet every 97 minutes. This creates a real challenge for the part designers, because as the Hubble moves in and out of the Earth's shadow, it must withstand incredible temperature swings of almost 300 degrees Celsius. To test the components, NASA's engineers use a cryogenic pump to chill a vacuum chamber to minus 100 degrees Celsius. Then, they reheat it way past the boiling point to 180 degrees before quickly freezing it again. This hot and cold game is repeated every half hour for 35 days. But even when everyone is sure the components will withstand the demands of operating in space, the hardest part is still to come. That's right, the extraterrestrial installation process. Just opening an access panel means unscrewing 111 fasteners. This is time-consuming and painstaking enough on Earth. Now imagine doing it in space. So to keep their astronauts from going screwy, the engineers at NASA have come up with an ingenious solution. Tools manager Jill McGuire explains.
We want to capture the fasteners so that they don't float in space and cause debris inside of the telescope. So to install the fastener capture plate, we've already installed these guide studs on top of the instrument, and it very simply goes into place, and then the astronauts can lock it.
The capture plate seals onto the panel and directs the astronaut to each screw.
So you can see as the screws are being removed, they actually simply fall to the bottom and are captured inside of the fastener capture plate. So now that all of the fasteners are removed, we can simply remove the fastener capture plate and the cover in one section.
Finally, replacement parts can be installed safely without fear of damaging the Hubble telescope or creating unwanted space junk. It may have cost $2 billion, but the Hubble telescope has already more than proved its worth. It's utterly transformed our view of the universe. And thanks to the efforts of NASA's engineers at the Goddard Space Center, it will continue to provide us with stunning images for many years to come. Up next,